YouTube channel. The public gallery will not be recorded unless accidentally, and only a participant in the meeting, namely a person asking questions at public question time, will be live streamed and recorded. If you wish to ask a question at public question time, your voice and image will be recorded and live streamed. If you do not consent to your voice and image being recorded and live streamed to the public, then you'll need to leave the meeting. By staying at this meeting, you consent to your voice and image being live streamed and recorded. No other electronic, visual or audio recording device or instrument can be used to record the proceedings of this meeting without prior written permission from the Council, as in the City of Belmont Standing Orders Local Law. Acknowledgement of country. Before I begin, I'd like to acknowledge the Whadjuk Noongar people as the traditional owners of this land and pay my respects to elders past, present and emerging. I further acknowledge their cultural heritage, belief, connection and relationship with this land which continues today. Councillor Sakula, would you please read aloud the affirmation of civic duty and responsibility on behalf of elected members present, please?
Thank you, Your Worship. I make this affirmation in good faith and declare that I will duly, faithfully, honestly and with integrity fulfil the duties of my office for all individuals in the City of Belmont according to the best of my judgment and ability. I will observe the City's Code of Conduct and Standing Orders to ensure efficient, effective and orderly decision-making within this forum. Thank you, Your Worship.
Thank you, Councillor Sakula. We have no apologies for this meeting and there are no council recorders having a leave of absence for this meeting. Declarations of interest. Will the Coordinator of Governance please advise those declarations made to date? Financial interests.
Thank you. Through the Mayor, there are no declarations of financial interest for this evening.
Disclosure of interests affecting partiality, please.
Thank you. Through the Mayor, yes, there are several this evening. Councillor Davis, item 12.2, the Community Services Awards, as she nominated one of the group categories, have been recommended for the award. Councillor Sessions, also item 12.2, Community Service Awards, as she knows multiple nominees. Councillor Kordzicki, item 12.3, the 25-26 October Budget Review, as he is a member of the Ruth Faulkner Public Library. Councillor Kordzicki, item 12.5, Accounts for Payment September 2025, as he is a member of the Belmont Community Environmental Champions Inc., who were recently awarded the Community Contribution Fund grant. Also, Mayor Rossi, item 12.2, Community Service Awards, as it knows multiple nominees. And Councillor Sakula, also item 12.2 for the Community Standard Awards, as individuals in the nomination list are known to him. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you very much. Announcements. It gives me great pleasure to share that our Rangers have been awarded the 2025 Ranger Team of the Year by the WA Rangers Association. This award celebrates excellence in the delivery of Ranger services and acknowledges the innovation, care and community focus shown by the City's team. Our community told us they wanted a stronger, more responsive service, and that's exactly what they've worked hard to deliver. Over the past 2 years, the service has been transformed with an expanded team, extended operating hours and new equipment combined with a focus on early intervention, education and genuine community engagement. This effort is being recognised in our community and beyond. Please join me in congratulating our Ranger team for their remarkable achievements and the positive impact they've had on our community. I would now like to invite the representatives of the Rangers team to come forward to accept the awards in recognition of the team's outstanding service. Please give them a round of applause as they come up. Congratulations to your team. Amazing effort. A disclaimer. It is 6:35 p.m. I wish to draw attention to the disclaimer notice contained within the agenda document and advise members of the public that any decisions made at this meeting tonight can be revoked pursuant to the Local Government Act of 1995. Therefore, members of the public should not rely on any decisions until formal notification in writing from the city has been received. Are there any declarations to be made by councillors? Declarations by members who have not given due consideration to all matters contained in the business papers presently before the meeting? Councillor Davis, is your hand up? Yes. Thank you. Councillor Davis, it doesn't relate to 4.3, which I've asked? No. Okay, thank you. So there is none. We'll move forward. Thank you for that. Public question time. Response to questions taken on notice. Response to questions taken on notice from the ordinary council meeting of the 23rd of September 2025 and noted in the agenda for Ms Hollands. Questions by members of the public. It is 6:37 p.m. and I open public question time and draw attention to the public gallery to the rules of public question time as written in the question time form. I remind members of the public of the standing orders local law requirements for members of the public to extend due courtesy and respect to councillors and employees. Please do not use inappropriate, objectionable or untruthful expressions or expressions that reflect adversely on the character or actions of councillors or employees. If any expression is deemed inappropriate, you'll be directed to withdraw the expression and apologise. If you do not comply, I will have to end your question. Lastly, I remind and caution everyone present at this meeting to refrain from making any defamatory statements, especially as proceedings are live streamed. Under City Standing Orders, Local Law 2017, members of the public can ask up to 2 questions and you have a maximum of 2 minutes per question for the question to be asked and answered. As presiding member, as I have usually done, I will allow up to 4 questions per person. Please note that sub-questions, being questions within questions, will be counted towards the total number of questions permitted. The question number and time limit is to allow fair and equal opportunity for everyone to ask their questions before the proceedings continue. Presently, I have 4 members of the public who have given prior notice to asking questions, these being Ms Hollands from Redcliffe, Ms Hollands for Bragg, Martin Cardoso on behalf of Eastward Connect. Are there anybody else?
Yes, I am.
Raise your hand, please. Janet G. Rosalini. Nobody else? Okay, thank you. Please state your name and suburb only, please. Ms Hollands, please come forward with your personal questions.
Good evening, Mayor and councillors. Firstly, I don't give consent to be on camera and any perceived consents under duress. So, the Bragg questions. At the last council meeting, I asked the following question. If councillors going around blocking people from their council social media page as opposed to their personal social media pages, can residents make a complaint of a breach of the Code of Conduct? The response I got from the Mayor stated that the councillor's Facebook or social media page is their own personal page, which does not belong to council. The Director of Corporate and Governance stated that he concurs with the Mayor and that the social media page is the private realm of an individual and it's up to the individual, or in this instance the councillor, who they allow to see their social media content. While this may well be incorrect information, and I'd like to make everyone aware of what I found out, we've had an elected members communication policy which includes the following social media points. A, increase residents' access to council information, and B, increase the level of trust in council. So how does this happen when people are blocked? And then, of course, there's the Code of Conduct, and I make reference to 41B, 51A, 6D8, 1A and 2B and D. I will also refer to Regulation 18 in the Standards Panel decision, Walker versus Treeby, and Keppert versus Standards Panel and Attorney General, which was all regarding Reg 7, which is now Reg 18. And both breaches were related to social media accounts. So my question, now I've provided this information, which I would have thought would have been known before I asked the question, would you be prepared to re-investigate this information and review your answer to me, please?
I have to refer to the Director of Corporate Governance and the CEO to get what their perspective of it is, because I've not heard of some of this information. So I first refer to the Director of Corporate Governance.
Thank you, Mr Mayor, for that. I'm happy to take the question on notice and have a look at what Ms Holland provided, but I think my original advice stands.
Go to the CEO.
Thank you, Worship. I was just going to concur with the Director that I believe we have provided a response in relation to this matter, and unless there's any new information, then Ms Holland should submit another complaint form. Thank you, Worship.
I did provide the new information in what I read out. That's why I asked if you could review the question.
Mr CEO.
Yeah, thank you. Given what you've stated tonight and the references to legislation, as the Director says, we'll take the question on notice.
Thank you.
Next question, thank you.
At the September Council meeting, councillors who were standing for re-election were allowed a speech in chambers. Did the CEO, anyone from the administration or the Mayor advise all of those councillors that they were not to mention in their speech anything that could be construed as vote-getting or election material, and why you weren't allowed to do that?
Director of Corporate and Governance.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. No instructions were given to elected members. They spoke from the heart, I believe.
CEO wishes to add something?
Again, just to add on further from the Director, all candidates in the election, all candidates, not just elected members, were aware of their obligations and the information packs that were provided and all the information on the Electoral Commission website. And so all councillors and all candidates were aware of what was expected of them. Thank you, Worship.
We'll move on to your Bragg questions. Thank you.
Personal questions, Mr Mayor. Yeah. We had a special meeting after the election to swear in the new council. At special meetings, the public are allowed to ask questions regarding the agenda, which in this instance was related to the swearing in of new councillors. Every 2 years, as part of this ceremony, they read out the civic duty affirmation, which in part reads, "I will observe the city's code of conduct and standing orders." I asked what training candidates and councillors got, which was refused as not being related to the agenda, apparently. During the course of campaign, some of the behaviour was a disgrace. It included social media posts disparaging other candidates, and for me personally, I was harassed and argued with by one candidate when door knocking, and on the Bragg Facebook page, which has more than one administrator, we had comments made by fake Facebook accounts disparaging the competition, which according to the whistleblower evidence, which was sent to us anonymously and has been sent to other government departments, was that of a candidate.
Can I just say, we have to be super careful there because you're being live streamed. You're reflecting it firstly. Just be very careful of your words.
Yeah.
To cover yourself and to cover us, but I'm just saying, just be very careful what you're saying now.
Well, I was just about my personal experience at my gate and so on and so forth. So my question was training for candidates and was there pre-training for candidates and councillors regarding the code of conduct prior to the campaign? As in my opinion, it's not working, and I want to know if there's any training specifically on the code of conduct and regulations of elected.
Before I go to the Director of Corporate Governance, I don't believe there's any training, but I believe they get a booklet with information, but I'm not too sure. It's been 2 years for me. I'll go over to the Director of Corporate Governance.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. All prospective candidates are invited to a pre-election briefing and we go through a whole range of issues, including the code of conduct and behaviours expected of elected candidates, I should say, purely for candidates. Elected members are expected to know this stuff, given that they've sat on council probably for a minimum of 4 years anyway. Post the election, of course, elected members or newly elected members are required under legislation to undertake a course at the direction of the government, as required under the Act and under the regulations. That's a 5-unit course. They are required to complete that course within 12 months of them being sworn in, and the code of conduct features prominently in all 5 units, I've been told, by WALGA, who undertake the training in conjunction with other providers such as TAFE. Most councils, I believe, new councils use WALGA, and certainly the code of conduct features prominently that in that course, and they are required to do that within 12 months of their election.
Okay, thank you.
Go for further information. Thank you.
Yeah, I think the director covered it reasonably well there. But just to clarify, all newly elected members are required to complete mandatory training as required by section 5.1261 of the Local Government Act and regulation 35 of the Local Government Admin Regs. The course units comprise of council member essentials as outlined in the Local Government Administration Regulations 1996. And these are 1, understanding local government, 2, serving on council, 3, meeting procedures, 4, conflicts of interest, and 5, understanding financial reports and budgets. The Western Australian Local Government Association, one of the providers of the Council Member Essentials course, has confirmed that all the units cover aspects of the Code of Conduct for council members. In particular, the unit entitled Serving on Council mentions the Code of Conduct 79 times in relation to governance processes, misuse of information and behaviour. The unit Meeting Procedures contains information on the Code of Conduct regulations as it applies to the behaviours in the council chambers. And as the director had mentioned, the candidates would not have undertaken this, but all councillors that were up for re-election would have previously completed all of those courses. Thank you, Worship.
Your next question, please.
Thank you both for that detailed response. Yeah, my next question. Driving around Belmont at the moment, it's looking very shabby in a lot of areas. Junk on verges, bins upended and rubbish everywhere, and long dead grass in both residents' yards and verges. This, of course, is a fire hazard. I'm aware that rangers are in the process of sending out letters to owners of properties regarding the long dead grass, and it has to be mowed or cleaned up prior to the 1st of December or face fines under the Bushfire Act. And rangers can't be in every street, unfortunately. So my question, rangers can't be in every street every day, so how many reports have been made by councillors regarding properties with long dead grass which poses a fire risk given they're all over Belmont? One would assume that councillors would drive or bike past some of these properties.
Before I go to the Director of Infrastructure Services, I can say in the last 2 years, we've increased the number of cuts on major arterial roads into the city. Yep. So we've worked hard to deal with it, but obviously with the rain, it does grow fast. But I'll go to the Director of Infrastructure for a more detailed response.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor Rossi, and through you. I do not know how many reports off the top of my head we've had from elected members in relation to unkempt verges, but we do get them. And as Mayor Rossi has just mentioned, we do have an unkempt verge mowing programme that we actually started earlier this year, where the city goes around and basically mows unkempt verges.
Next one, please. Thank you.
As I can't find a policy which might make it so that this sort of thing can be maintained year round, as opposed to just when the bushfire acts on, particularly for the long grass, is there such a policy? And if not, why can't we look at a policy to sort of get people to keep their particularly their front yards, you know, reasonably neat and tidy.
Mr. CEO?
Thank you, Worship. Yes, it would be nice if everyone in the city took pride in where they lived and their street and maintained their verges, but often that's not the case. The verges are actually council property. They don't belong and are not private property or the residents, part of the residents' garden. But we would think that anyone living in the city would quite happily maintain the verge adjacent to their property. Now, I do know that previously there was some mention of that in a verge policy that we had, but unless the director can confirm that, Your Worship, I might take that part on notice to determine whether it is captured in a policy.
I'll go over to the Director of Infrastructure Services.
Yeah, through you, Mayor Rossi, it's actually covered under our local laws, consolidated local laws in relation to verge treatments and the expectation that the verges are looked after by the community.
Just so for clarity, I wasn't just talking about the verges, it's also the front yards. You know, I've driven around, there's grass 3 foot high in some front yards. It's pretty appalling and makes the whole area look pretty shabby.
I believe that would be covered on the 1st of December, unfortunately. Not sure we can do much, but I'll go to the CEO to see if we can.
Yeah, I think we're very fortunate to have the Manager of Safer Communities here with us tonight, who is responsible for the enforcement of the Bushfire Act. And I'm sure you'll correct me if I'm wrong, but the Bushfire Act will comply to properties under 2,000 square metres, if I remember correctly. They must all comply with the Bushfire Act prior to the 30th or 30th of November or the 1st of December. Unfortunately, I can't make, and certainly we can't enforce people to maintain their properties. We would like to think that everyone would take pride, not only where they live, but as I said, in the adjacent streets and verges. But certainly by the time the Bushfire Act kicks in, then the Rangers will be enforcing that. Thank you, Worship.
Thank you.
Okay, next question?
No, that's
No
it.
more? Thank you. We move on. Martin Cardoso, please ask your personal question first.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Martin Cardoso, Redcliffe. Good evening, Mayor, councillors, city officers and members of the public gallery. All of my questions are on average less than 1 minute each, and I ask them, as always, for a better Belmont. Firstly, congratulations to the newly elected and returning councillors this evening. Your Worship, my questions this evening do not relate to the Local Government Act 1995, but to the City's obligations under the Freedom of Information Act 1992 and the State Records Act 2000 and the City's own Information Statement 2025-26, which classifies agenda briefing forums, ordinary council meetings and special council meetings as public meetings. Belmont is unique among Tier 1 councils. It invites the public into its agenda briefing forums, records them in full for minute taking, tells the state government they are public meetings, yet publishes only a short ABF matrix that omits thousands of words of discussion. My questions relate to that contradiction. Question 1. Does the City acknowledge that under the Freedom of Information Act 1992 and the State Records Act 2000, it has a statutory duty to maintain records of all public meetings, including agenda briefing forums that are accurate, comprehensive and accessible?
Mr. CEO?
My answer to that question would be yes, we are aware of it, and I'm sure the Director might have something further to add, but yes, we are aware.
Director of Corporate Governance?
Nope, I'm happy with that response, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Question 2. The City's Information Statement 2025-26, adopted under Section 96 of the Freedom of Information Act 1992, and first brought to councillors' attention last month through public questions at the September 2025 Ordinary Council meeting, classifies agenda briefing forums, ordinary council meetings and special council meetings as public meetings. Given that definition, how can the City justify issuing a matrix that omits resident submissions, deputations, councillor questions, officer responses and their follow-ups?
Mr. CEO?
Thank you, Worship. I think we've answered this question a number of times, and we do keep accurate minutes. We do not record meetings verbatim. And a summary of the minutes are available and are posted on the city's website and included in minutes, and certainly council adopts them at every council meeting. So I believe that what we provide is sufficient. Thank you, Your Worship.
Next, please.
Thank you. Through you, Your Worship, the governance team has previously stated that the city's standard form matrix is sufficient to record agenda briefing forums. Yet the city's own information statement adopted under the Freedom of Information Act 1992 classifies these forums as public meetings, which triggers higher statutory standards for record keeping under the FOI Act and the State Records Act 2000. Those acts require records that are accurate under section 16(1)(a) of the State Records Act, comprehensive under State Records Commission Standard 2.3.1, and accessible under section 96E of the Freedom of Information Act. The current matrix lists agenda items and provides general notes of meetings, but omits what residents said, councillor questions, officer replies and their follow-ups. In doing so, it fails all three tests: accuracy, completeness and accessibility. Given those statutory obligations, does the city still consider the matrix a compliant and credible record of a public meeting, and if so, on what basis?
Mr. CEO?
Thank you, Worship. Again, I've answered this question or similar questions probably over the last 6 months with regard to agenda briefing forums. It's been made quite clear at those meetings that the agenda briefing forum is not a statutory meeting under the Local Government Act. And I believe that the minutes that we prepare and present and advertise on our website are accurate and a fair and true representation of the discussions and the information that happens within this chamber at an agenda briefing forum. But I'm not sure whether the director or the manager of legal and governance might want to add something further. Thank you, Worship.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Your Worship. Through you, and further to the comments just made by the Chief Executive Officer, that a couple of things I can provide, Mr Cardozo, is that we do comply with the General Retention and Disposal Authority under the State Records Act, 1. 2, that we are fully compliant based on the correspondence and communications that we have with both the State Records Office and the Office of the Information Commissioner about our retentions, disposal and information keeping. Thank you, Your Worship.
Well, I think that's answered the question quite clearly. Next question, please.
Thank you. Through you, Your Worship, now that the City's Information Statement 2025-26 has formally brought to councillors' attention for the first time last month at the September Ordinary Council meeting, and that document classifies agenda briefing forums as public meetings, will elected members acknowledge that under section 2.71 of the Local Government Act 1995, it is council's responsibility, not administration, to ensure record keeping of public meetings are complete and accurate?
It'll be up to each councillor, but I will go to the Senior Governance Office to get further information on what you just said. Apologies.
Thank you, Your Worship, and through you. I can't speak for council, of course, Mr Cardozo, but I know that council is certainly guided by the advice that it receives from the range of professionals that council employs and as employed by the Chief Executive Officer. And again, I just restate the previous answer that we are fully compliant with our obligations under the State Records Act, the Freedom of Information Act, and the agencies that administer those, the Office of the Information Commissioner and the State Records Office itself. Thank you, Your Worship.
I do apologise, got mixed up. Director of Corporate Governance, would you add anything?
Thank you, Mr Mayor. No.
Next question, please.
Great. This Martin Cardozo on behalf of Belmont East Ward Connect. Your Worship, as with my earlier questions, these also relate not to the Local Government Act 1995, but to the City's obligations under the Freedom of Information Act 1992, the State Records Act 2000, and the City's own information statement, which defines agenda briefing forums, ordinary council meetings, and special council meetings as public meetings.
And
Question one.
before you start, you've just asked a series related to the same similar area. You are asking the same sort of question. These are completely different to the first four?
Completely
Okay,
different
go ahead.
set,
Please go ahead.
Your Worship. With the new local government inspector now appointed and tranche 2 reforms in effect, will the City table or publish the specific record-keeping improvements it intends to recommend to Council so residents can see how Belmont plans to bring its agenda briefing forum records into compliance with the Freedom of Information Act 1992 and the State Records Act 2000?
Before I go to the Senior Governance Officer and to the CEO, I think you've just heard on multiple times that we are meeting them, but I'll go first to the Senior Governance Officer. I don't know why I'm giving you the wrong name. I apologise. Manager of Governance and Legal.
Thank you, Your Worship, and through you. As far as I'm aware, the duties of the local government inspector are defined and confined to matters under the Local Government Act. So the office of the inspector will not be to police or monitor or interrogate or investigate local government's observance of Freedom of Information obligations or State Records Act obligations. That's something entirely different, and again I refer to my previous answers. To the best of our communications and reported through to each of those agencies, the City of Belmont believes it is fully compliant. Thank you, Your Worship. Thank
you. Manager of Governance and Legal. My apologies. Mr. CEO, wish to add anything? No. Does the Director of Corporate and Governance wish to add anything? No, thank you. Next question, please, Martin. Thank you.
Question 2. How can residents have confidence in the accuracy of the City's agenda briefing forum records when substantial parts of community input, councillor questions and officer responses are excluded from the ABF matrix?
I did remember you saying that in one of your first set of questions, but I will go to the CEO.
As I have mentioned previously, and as the Manager of Governance and Legal has mentioned previously, I have nothing further to add other than we believe what we are doing is fully compliant. Thank you, Your Worship.
Next question, please. Thank you.
Through you, Your Worship, you've served this community for more than 2 decades and bring deep experience in chairing meetings, both as Deputy Mayor and now as Mayor. When the public is asked to leave an agenda briefing forum for a confidential item, is the audio recording paused as it is during confidential items at ordinary council meetings?
I believe it is paused.
Thank you, Your Worship. Yes, we do pause it.
That's great. So if audio is already paused for confidential matters, confidentiality can't really be the reason the public can't access the agenda briefing forum audio.
Manager of Governance and Legal.
Thank you, Your Worship, and through you, I need to clarify the questioner's question because is the questioner referring to the confidential part of the meeting or all of the meeting? Thank you, Your Worship.
It was quite clear, the confidential part of the meeting.
Could you repeat the question, please?
Sure, it's pretty straightforward. When the public is asked to leave, this is a question to the Mayor with over 20 years' experience in sitting in this chamber. When the public is asked to leave an agenda briefing forum for a confidential item, is the audio recording paused as it is during confidential items at ordinary council meetings? The answer was yes, quite clear.
Director of Corporate and Governance.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Can I take that question on notice, please, if you don't mind? Thank you.
The answer was quite clearly yes. Why would you want to take it on notice? I don't understand.
Sorry, no, there's no arguing.
Okay.
We
Yes,
just
sir.
need to get clarification.
Yeah. Thanks, Mr.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Next question.
Your Worship, Belmont is unique among Tier 1 councils. It invites the public into agenda briefing forums, records them in full for minute-taking purposes, and declares to the state government through its information statement, adopted as recently as July, that ABF's ordinary council meetings and special council meetings are in fact public meetings. Yet despite those declarations, the City only publishes a short ABF matrix that omits thousands of words of community input, councillor questions, officer responses and follow-ups. How can such an incomplete ABF record be considered accurate or comprehensive? And when will the Council replace the clearly inadequate matrix document with proper minutes to ensure Belmont's record keeping genuinely meets the standards required under the Freedom of Information Act and the State Records Act?
I believe you were told that we do meet those standards, but I will go again to the manager, governance and legal.
Thank you, Worship, and through you, I have nothing further to add to my previous answers provided to Mr Cardozo. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. We move to Janet G.
Thank you, Mr Mayor, councillors and people in the gallery. I've just got two quick questions. I'd like to have another summary of how much has been spent on councillor meals in the last 12 months, please. And my second question is, how much is the councillors' lounge costing us, including drinks and snacks? And if that could be over the last 12 months as well, that would be terrific. Thank you.
Director of Corporate and Governance for those two questions.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I'm happy to take that question on notice.
I'm happy to wait for your answer. Thank you very much.
Move on to Luigi Rossellini.
Good evening to everyone. Thank you. After a long time, I come back. The first question is regarding last meeting, public question time. You just approve the response given. So it's being asked of regarding the electronic control of parking just outside here in Epsom Avenue. So the cost is roughly the same, the cost for hire the electronic system compared to the cost of implementing. I've been giving the fine covering nearly all. The thing is, I believe it's not correct, the answer given, because every time they had to, a sensor giving an alarm, you have to send a ranger or somebody to give the fine. And if you calculate the time they're spending to do that, probably 10 minutes each time they give a fine, the cost is much more than what is only the hiring of the equipment. And also, taxpayer and resident pay all this infringement. It's not a nice thing, but we can get away with that. But really, when people asking questions, how much is the cost, they should be giving a complete answer, not only half. It's very clearly that the cost is not only to hire the thing. Another issue is if the council decide to not want anymore the equipment, what is the contract about? You can remove, they can remove, what is the cost for that?
Director for Infrastructure Services, I think there was around 3 questions. No? The CEO will answer it. There's roughly 3 questions in there.
Yeah, thank you, Your Worship. One positive, Mr Rosalind, is that the installation of the sensors and the revenue raised from overstays on parking is basically cost neutral, which is, I think, a real positive. And it is also assisting with parking availability at Epsom Avenue, here in this precinct and elsewhere, and soon will be in the Springs. Your reference to the Rangers is the Rangers actually do that job anyway. And what the sensors do is allocate their time more effectively, because normally they'd be driving around looking. Now they get an alert and they are not wasting their time going to these areas to infringe people. So I believe it's a better use of the Ranger time and potentially saves money, does not increase the cost. Thank you, Your Worship.
Do you have further questions? Because I need to extend question time. Do you have further questions?
I have another question, but not regarding the English
Sorry, if you could just hold it there. We'll just extend question time. So we need a move and a seconder. Moved by Councillor Sessions, seconded by Councillor Harris. Use the buttons on your screen. Carried unanimously. Yes, got all 9. Thank you. Over to you, sir. Go ahead.
Thank you to allowing me to ask another question. It's a very hard issue to ask questions and talking about. But as you probably were aware, because I'm sure you are informed of what's happening in our country, and many other. Recently, you have ABC Four Corner reporting a big issue regarding children being sexually assaulted in the children premise where they're supposed to be looked after. You are aware of that. My question is this. We have 3 places here in Belmont, brand new, and the reporter, they say on the 24 hours news today at lunch, the investigators say they only discovered 2% probably, and the rest is still ongoing. And mainly on the profit business. So the big one, we have 3 around here. I know it's not a council business, but I wonder if the council where is standing in issue like this, because we have can be a problem on the service the council deliver when delivered to children on the library or community, if they employ personnel, if they're checking out, if they are registered pedophile or not, if the register exists. The question is, what step the council is taking, if they take, to protect the children for similar abuse occurring in our library or public place of the council?
Well, I hope that I'm sure all our staff would have working with children checks, but I mean, in the library, I'm assuming, but I'm not too sure. I'll hand over to the CEO.
Yeah, thank you, Worship. You're quite right. Anyone who engaged in that type of work has to undergo working with children checks. We also have mandatory reporting when we have incidents or issues. But to provide a more comprehensive response, Your Worship, I think we'll take that on notice and I'll provide a detailed response.
We'll get you a detailed response. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone. We'll now move. There's no further questions. I'll close public question time at 7:16 p.m. Confirmation of minutes and receipt of matrix. Are there any questions on the matrix held on the Agenda Briefing Forum on the 21st of October of this year? Any questions on the matrix? Need a mover and seconder. Moved by Councillor Kujitski, seconded by Councillor Harris. Please use the buttons on your screen. Yep, got everyone. Carried unanimously. Thank you. We move to ordinary council meeting held on the 23rd of September of this year. Are there any questions on the minutes? Need a mover. Moved by Councillor Sakula, seconded by Councillor Sessions. Voting is now open. Please use the buttons on your microphone screen. We need 3 more. Councillor Ryan. Press a little bit harder. Carried unanimously. Thank you. Questions by members on which due notice has been given. Without discussion, there are none. Questions by members without notice. Response to questions taken on notice, there are none. Questions by members without notice, are there any questions by members? There are none. New business of urgent nature approved by the presiding member or by decision. Are there any new business of urgent nature? I don't believe so. Business adjourned from the previous meeting, there is none. Reports of committees, there are none. Reports of administration. Items withdrawn. 12, I'll go through each one. Development application for 12 multiple dwellings, 12.1, Councillor Sessions. 12.2, Community Service Awards for this year. 12.3, the October Budget Review. October Budget Review, okay. That's 12.3. Is that correct? 12.3, the October Budget Review. Thank you. Appointments to other groups. As presiding member, I will like to withdraw that. 12.4 due to the nature of the item. 12.5? No. 12.6, monthly financial report for September? No. So we have 12.1 withdrawn, 12.3 and 12.4. We have a move and a second to adopt the balance of the reports en bloc by absolute majority decision, with exceptions of items 12.1, 12.3, 12.4. Moved by Councillor Sakula, seconded by Councillor Davis. Please use, voting is now open. Please use the buttons on your microphone screen. One more. Carried unanimously. Thank you. For those people present in the gallery, please note that those items that have not been withdrawn have now been adopted by Council. You're welcome to stay and observe the remainder of tonight's proceedings, or you may wish to leave when convenient. As outlined previously, please do not rely on any Council decision until formal notification has been received in writing. Thank you. We move to 12.1, development application for 13 multiple dwellings in Beverley Road, Cloverdale. Moved by Councillor Sessions. I need a seconder. Councillor Harris. Over to you, Councillor Sessions.
Thanks, Mayor Rossi. I do support the officer's recommendation on this item, but it's begrudgingly. Not because of anything the officers have suggested, but because we have to work within the state planning framework, and that greatly restricts what we can change and enforce with applications like this. Although this site meets the minimum parking requirements for a high-frequency public transport location, surely we should be able to do better. I say this as someone who has received a lot of phone calls over the years about parking in the Springs area of Rivervale. I repeatedly get complaints about the lack of parking, and yet we're unable to change it. Visitors to shops and apartments in the Springs cannot park there. Owners can park one vehicle only, and many bought apartments there knowing they only had one bay and relying on street parking. The more built up an area gets, the more street parking is needed, and yet less and less is available. Reducing bay availability does not reduce the number of cars that people own. And while street parking near Beverley Street may be plentiful now, that area is prime for more development, being so close to the town centre. I want to see us advocate more to increase private parking and open space in properties such as this, because once they are developed, you'll never get the opportunity back. I know we have no reasonable planning basis to reject this application, but I am frustrated that 13 dwellings or 22 bedrooms share 12 parking bays. 78 square metres of open space was required for this development, but 58 square metres has been allowed because the area is usable and has privacy measures. I want to see us being more strict with open space. Again, this is something that we need to advocate for. Thankfully, there are some green spaces close by, particularly Norlin Park, which is reserved for parks and recreation only in Local Planning Scheme 15, which protects that land from being developed. So I support this item, but I want us to advocate to the state government for change.
Thank you. We'll move to the seconder, Councillor Harris. No? Who wishes to speak for or against? Councillor Davis, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We actually don't have to vote for this because it's come here to us because it's deemed D. So it's multiple dwelling is classified as a D and not an R. So it's come to council because it's actually not permitted. So it's come to us to exercise discretion by granting development approval. So there's a couple of things here that it doesn't. I'll just talk. I'm just going to talk against it. So this proposal is classified as a D use within the residential zone, meaning it is not permitted as a right, but may be approved at the discretion of local government. While the city's design review panel has expressed conditional support for the proposal and identified areas for improvement to enhance
design quality, several important planning considerations remain unresolved. When assessing discretionary use such as multi-dwelling, the city must give careful consideration to potential traffic, parking and access impacts, density and built form and amenity impacts on the site and adjoining properties. Although the site is located within the town centre, there are significant concerns regarding non-compliance with the residential codes and the broader intent of the local planning scheme in particular. Parking provision. The development proposes 13 apartments across 4 stories, supported by only 12 residential parking bays and 4 visitor parking bays. This is inadequate for a development of this scale and is likely to lead to overflow parking into adjoining streets, increasing congestion and reducing the availability of public parking in the area. The Design Review Panel's recommendation to replace the first visitor bay with landscaping, while positive for streetscape quality, would further exuberate the shortfall in parking and place additional pressure on local infrastructure. The setback, the setback is non-compliant. The proposal fails to meet the setback requirements of the R codes, resulting in excessive building bulk and reduced separation between the development and neighbouring properties. Insufficient setbacks compromise privacy, ventilation and access to natural light for both the proposed and existing dwellings and create a visually dominant built form inconsistent with the surrounding character. Overlooking and amenity impacts. The proposal design raises serious overlooking concerns. These impacts would materially reduce the amenity and sense of privacy currently enjoyed by adjoining residents. While it is acknowledged that the site's town centre location supports high density and mixed use development, this proposal in its current form does not adequately balance intensification with residential amenity and streetscape quality, and greater consideration should be given to improving parking provision and increasing setbacks. So I will not be voting for this recommendation.
Councillor Sekula, then Councillor Martin.
Okay, thank you, Your Worship. I'm speaking against the motion. And firstly, I want to acknowledge the council officer that did the presentation last week. I thought he did an exceptional job, and based on his presentation to the council, there were a number of areas of concern that was raised. Councillor Davis has covered quite a lot of that in depth, but we have rules for a reason. We have rules that we need to comply with, and if we waver from those rules, then we get a development that is non-compliant, and we also have the inconsistent application of rules across the city, and that does not bode well for the planning of any kind. The areas that were of concern to me that were inconsistent and didn't bode well for a compliance included the setbacks. The common area was way too small. Parking was a major issue, and I know the mayor raised an issue about trees and the fact that there was a lack of opportunity and space to plant trees and to have a garden that would be able to create a more calming environment. So based on those areas of non-compliance, I would be voting against this motion. The other point that was raised during the council officer's presentation last week was that there was a view that the development reflected the objects of that particular direction of the planning in that area. Now, just because something reflects the objects, that doesn't mean that it is compliant in terms of the code or the rules. The rules are quite explicit. The rules are there for a reason, and I think it's incumbent upon council to really ensure that we follow those rules. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Councillor Martin.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. And I'll be voting for this. And I'd just like to point out that I agree with what much has been said by Councillor Sessions. I think that whether we like it or not, and Councillor Sessions mentioned this is going to get passed. And it'll get passed by the SAT. If we want to send it back to the SAT, they will pass it. And they'll do so because they believe in flexibility of the R codes, which is what you heard just being spoken about. And I think that this does reflect the direction of the R codes. Consequently, SAT will accept it. I've been through many of these sittings on similar sorts of units and so forth. And at times we've voted against them. On all occasions, the JDAP has accepted them. I can't think of one they haven't accepted. You know, does this mean we haven't got any power? I'm afraid it's about the situation. We are devoid of much power on this type of thing when it comes to planning, I'm afraid. And to be pragmatic, I think that we have to accept it here at the Council. Thank you.
Thank you.
Just quickly add that when you heard Councillor Sessions talking about where we need to look for parking, we did it some 6 or 7 years ago, I think it might be, actually get parking to 1 bay per unit, which I think is an acceptable way to do it. I think it lasted 3 months, and the people who didn't want parking prevailed, and it went back to the situation it's at the moment. So, no, we are bashing our heads against a brick wall, and we are very much isolated as a council. Thank you.
Anybody else wish to speak for or against? Councillor Gurjitsky.
Thank you, Mayor Rossi. I'll speak for the officer recommendation briefly. I also share some concerns around the quality of the development, particularly the issues that have been put forward by the design review panel concerning landscape quality, sustainability, amenity, legibility and community. Despite these shortcomings, we've been provided a thorough report and we need to take this into consideration on balance, considering also the risks should we not approve this development and it progress to SAT. We also need to consider the opportunities for housing that's desperately needed in our community. So there's no real cogent reasons for us to push this proposal back. In saying that, I am proud that Council has committed to improving the realms of sustainability and environmental awareness in our policies, as we had put at a council meeting a few months ago when we put forward the planning of the new local planning scheme and supporting documents. So I hope that in the future we'll have a stronger policy setting so that we can actually enforce the concerns that have been raised by the design review panel on this occasion. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Before I go on, like a ringing sound in the room. Do we know what that is? Oh, it's your microphone. Thank you. All right. Just wondering if something was interfering with the system. Okay. Anybody else wish to speak for or against? No. Then I'll just speak briefly for it too. This is an ideal location for a high rise of apartments, or 4 stories anyway, or 3 or 4. It's classified as residential R20, 50, 100. We want infill around the town centre. But I also want good infill around the town centre. And I am concerned about the shortfall. The shortfall in the communal open space is roughly, in my head, a small study or a garden shed. It is significant in my eyes. My concern is, will the next person come in with 25? Next one will be 30. And so where will it stop? So I have huge concern. But reading through the report several times to ensure I made a right decision, I could see that there was effort from the developer to make changes. When our officers talked to them, and our officers have worked hard, because from the initial to what we have now, a lot of the areas have been covered. I am also concerned about the parking situation, but that's what's set by the government, the Planning Commission. We're stuck. There's not, we can be heroes and jump up and down and say not enough parking, and I will advocate to our state member and to anybody I can to hear us that there is not enough parking provided. But the reality is, if this goes to SAT, it will be passed. And I am frustrated, like a lot of you who have expressed yourselves. We don't have enough parking, but overall, it's a good development, but I am concerned about the communal open space and how we are, while it's flexible, we're allowing too much of a change. 19.7, a shortfall, is just too much in my eyes, and I'm quite concerned. But in all the other aspects, it's much better than what it started out as. We go back to the mover.
Thanks, Mayor Rossi. Nothing to add.
Please use, voting is now open, please use the buttons on your screen. We're missing one vote. We go back to the Councillor Ryan. If you just press nice and hard, maybe it's just not showing. Just tap and lift. We got it. Thank you. Carried 6 votes to 3. We now move to move to 12.3, moved by Councillor Davis.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I'd like to move as printed. I just want
Sorry, I just need to get a seconder for you. And there's a seconder, Councillor Sakula.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Yeah, I just wanted to touch on a couple of items that were in the budget review, just because a lot of people probably wouldn't read it in the city, in the public. So one of the very important projects that the city are doing they're in the middle of it right now is the upgrade of Abernethy Road. So in the budget review, we have the progression of that. So I just wanted to mention what was actually happening. So it's with works have completed at the intersection of Gabriel Street, city officers are progressing the delivery of the remainder of the intersection upgrades at Fulham, Keene and Scott and Kew Streets. This includes preliminary design, details design and implementation, and community engagement from this stage onwards will focus on communication and advance notification work. So it's happening, and I know there's accidents there all the time, but we are moving and we are trying our very best. So I want to move this motion as printed. Thank you.
Councillor Sakula, seconder. No wish to speak. Back to anybody else wish to talk about the budget in any way? October budget review. Is your hand up, Councillor Sedge? No. Go back to the mover.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. And I'll also mention the Wright Street pedestrian crossing investigation. This project is carried forward, awaiting some street lighting installation. So it's a project that is going to be occurring, and look forward to it.
Thank you. Your voting is now open. Please use the buttons on your microphone screen. Councillor Ryan, maybe just a gentle tap. There it goes. Carried unanimously. Thank you. We now move to 12.4, appointments to other groups. I will now close the meeting in accordance with section 5.232D of the Local Government Act 1995 to discuss matters pertaining to legal advice. May I have a mover and a seconder behind closed? I'll move it, and I need a seconder, Councillor Sessions. Use the buttons on your screen. Carry unanimously. Would the IT officer please pause the live stream? Would those in the public gallery please depart the chamber? Thank you so much. There's nobody. So, appointments to other groups. We have it moved. No, we don't. No, we go straight to, I now request the CEO to conduct the appointments of elected members to other groups.
Thank you, Worship. The first group this evening is the Airport Consultative Environment and Sustainability Group. And I have received the following nominations for the position of Airport Consultative Environment and Sustainability Group member. I have one from Councillor Kulczycki and the other one from Councillor Davis. Are there any further nominations? Councillor Ryan. Any other nominations? No? I thank you, Worship. I declare the nomination period closed, and I ask officers to prepare the ballot papers as only one member is available.
Only one.
Only one. Thank you, Your Worship. If I can, councillors, just to confirm, it's first past the post on all of the votes tonight, not optional preferential voting. Thank you, Your Worship.
Councillor, can I remind you we're live streaming? The CEO may have to say something out loud.
Thank you, Worship. As nominations are closed, I'll need to clarify whether withdrawal is possible through the Manager Legal and Governance.
Through you, Mr Mayor. Thank you, Mr Chief Executive Officer. Once nominations have closed, all nominations carry.
Councillors, just to provide an update, we have two councillors on the same votes, so the lowest one will be excluded, and we'll have to do another ballot, a secret ballot. So, Councillor Jenny Davis, as you said, you've withdrawn, you will be excluded, and we'll now conduct a second ballot. Thank you, Your Worship. Councillors, the results are in, and I declare Councillor Kulczycki elected to the position of Airport Consultative Environment and Sustainability Group member. Thank you, Worship.
Mr. CEO, is Councillor Kulczycki aware that this is 9:30 on the morning, on a Wednesday morning?
I would assume that would be a question for Councillor Kulczycki, but I believe all the information was available in the report from memory, but
Councillor Kulczycki, are you aware? There's a question there.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yes, I am aware and I have read the report entirely.
can I continue? We now move on to nominations for the position of Airport Consultative Environment and Sustainability Group Proxy member. And I have the following nominations from Councillor Sessions and Councillor Harris. Are there any further nominations for proxy member of the Airport Consultative Environment and Sustainability Group? There being no further nominations, I will ask, as this is one position, does any councillor wish to withdraw their nominations before I close? Councillor Harris? Councillor Harris has withdrawn his nomination. I can then now declare that Councillor Sessions is elected to the position of Airport Consultative Environment and Sustainability Group Proxy member. Congratulations to those councillors. We now move on to the Belmont Retirement Villages Board of Management. The Mayor is an automatic representative on this board. Therefore, there is one position available to elected members. And I have received the following nominations for the position of Belmont Retirement Villages Board of Management member, those being from Councillor Kulczycki and Councillor Sekula. Are there any further nominations? Again, as there's only one position available, I will ask whether any councillor wishes to withdraw their nomination. No withdrawals, so I declare the nomination period closed and ask officers to prepare the ballot papers. Thank you, Worship.
Can I please remind everyone we're on live streaming?
Councillors, the results are in, and I declare that the Mayor and Councillor Sakula are elected to the position of Belmont Retirement Board of Villages Board of Management as members. Congratulations, Mayor Rossi and Councillor Sakula. Councillors, we now move on to the proxy member on the Retirement Villages Board. The Deputy Mayor acts as a proxy to the Mayor on this board. Therefore, there is one proxy member position available, and I have received the following nomination for the position of Belmont Retirement Villages of Board of Management proxy member from Councillor Harris. Are there any nominations? Councillor Ryan. Any further nominations? Councillor Kulczycki. Any further nominations? Again, before I close nominations, does any councillor wish to withdraw their nomination? No. I declare the nomination period closed and ask officers to prepare the ballot papers. Thank you, Worship. Councillors, the results are in, and I declare Councillor Sessions and Councillor Ryan as elected to the positions of Belmont Retirement Villages Board of Management proxy members. So congratulations, Councillor Sessions and Ryan. Your Worship, we move on to the Metro Inner Development Assessment Panel. There are 2 positions available, and I have received the following nomination for the position of Metro Inner Development Assessment Panel members, and I have 1 nomination so far for Mayor Rossi. Are there any other nominations? I have Councillor Marks. Are there any other nominations? None. Then, I declare that Mayor Rossi and Councillor Marks are elected to the positions of Metro Inner Development Assessment Panel member. There are 2 positions available for the alternate member, and I have received the following nominations for the positions of the Metro Inner Development Assessment Panel alternate member. And I have Councillor Sessions, Councillor Kulczycki and Councillor Harris. Are there any further nominations? None. As there are 2 positions available and 3 candidates, does any candidate wish to withdraw their nomination? No. Then I declare the nomination period closed and ask officers to prepare the ballot papers. Thank you, Your Worship. Thank you, councillors. The results are in, and I can declare that Councillor Sessions and Councillor Kulchitsky are elected to the positions of the Metro Inner Development Assessment Panel alternate members. So congratulations to Councillor Sessions and Councillor Kulchitsky. We now move on to the Perth Airport Community Briefing Group, and there are 2 positions available. And I have received the following nominations for the position of Perth Airport Community Briefing Group member from Mayor Rossi, Councillor Kulchitsky, Councillor Davis and Councillor Harris. Are there any other nominations for the Perth Airport Community Briefing Group?
Not here. WALGA one's the next one for us.
Sorry, I'm just following the run sheet which I have in front of me, so apologies if it seems out of order, but the WALGA East one is coming up.
No, the agenda's fine. It's just the run sheet has it in that order. So whatever reason, they put it in that order. But it'll still come up next after this one here. So nothing to worry about. It's coming.
So, as I said, I have 4 nominations for 2 positions from Mayor Rossi, Councillor Kulchitsky, Councillor Davis and Councillor Harris. Are there any further nominations? No. Are there any councillors wishing to withdraw their nomination? No. Then I declare the nomination period closed and ask officers to prepare the ballot papers. Thank you, Worship. Councillors, if I can have your attention, the results are in, and I can declare that Mayor Rossi and Councillor Davis are elected to the position of Perth Airport Community Briefing Group member. Congratulations, Mayor Rossi and Councillor Davis. Sorry, we now move on to the proxy positions on the Perth Airport Community Briefing Group, and I have received the following nomination from Councillor Sessions. Are there any other nominations for the proxy position of Perth Airport Community Briefing Group? Councillor Harris. Other nominations for the proxy on the Perth Airport Community Briefing Group? No. Then I'll close nominations and declare that Councillor Sessions and Councillor Harris are duly elected to the positions of Perth Airport Community Briefing Group proxy member. Congratulations, Councillor Harris and Councillor Sessions. We now move on to the Western Australian Local Government Association East Metropolitan Zone. And there are 2 positions available, and I have received the following nominations for the position of Western Australian Local Government East Metropolitan Zone Voting Delegate. I have Councillor Sessions, Councillor Sakula and Councillor Harris. Are there any further nominations?
Myself.
And Mayor Rossi. Are there any other nominations? Councillor Ryan. Any others? Does anyone want to withdraw their nomination before I close? Then I close nominations and declare the nomination period closed and ask officers to prepare the ballot papers. Thank you, Worship. Your Worship and councillors, I can confirm we have one appointed member for the East Metropolitan Zone voting delegate, and that is Councillor George Sekula. We have 3 others tied, and we will need to do a second ballot. Thank you.
Just a reminder, we're on live streaming.
And councillors, if I can, please remember you're only voting for one candidate on the second round of voting. Thank you. Councillors, the results are in, and I can declare that Councillor Sakula and Councillor Ryan are elected to the positions of the WALGA East Zone Metropolitan Zone voting delegates. So congratulations, Councillor Sakula and Councillor Ryan. We now move on to proxy delegates for the WALGA East Metropolitan Zone. Just to confirm, I am a member but a non-voting delegate and attend these meetings. And we do have an option to appoint more than 2 proxies to the zone. And I have not received any nominations for the proxy for the WA Local Government East Zone proxy voting delegate as yet, and I'll open nominations. Are there nominations from Councillor Sessions? Before I proceed, and excuse me, by show of hands, would elected members wish to proceed with appointing more than 2 proxy members? My mistake. So, do you have any objections to appointing more than 2 proxy members? Are there any objections? No. Thank you. So I have Councillor Sessions and Councillor Harris. Are there any other nominations? Mayor Rossi. Are there any other nominations? No. I'll close nominations, and I declare that Councillor Sessions, Councillor Harris and Mayor Rossi are duly elected to, and myself, the CEO, as a non-voting delegate to the positions of the WALGA Zone, Eastern Metropolitan Zone proxy voting delegates. Thank you, Your Worship.
Sorry. We'll just fill in the paperwork first. Can the Chief Executive Officer please advise the members and proxy members for each group, please?
Thank you, Worship. I can confirm as follows. The Airport Consultative Environmental and Sustainability Group, the member is Councillor Kulczycki, the proxy member is Councillor Sessions, and there is another member who is the Coordinator of Environment. The Belmont Retirement Villages Board of Management, the member is Mayor Rossi, the second member is Councillor Sakula, the third member is myself, the Chief Executive Officer, proxy member Councillor Sessions, and the second proxy member is Councillor Ryan, and the third proxy member being the Director of Corporate and Governance. With regard to the Metro Inner Development Assessment Panel, the member is Mayor Rossi and the other member is Councillor Marks. The alternate members are Councillor Sessions and Councillor Kulczycki. With regard to the WALGA East Metropolitan Zone, the voting delegate is Councillor Sakula. The other voting delegate is Councillor Ryan, and the proxies for the East Zone meeting are Councillor Sessions, Councillor Harris and Mayor Rossi. The Perth Airport Community Briefing Group, the member is Mayor Rossi, and the second member is Councillor Davis, and myself also being a member, the Chief Executive Officer. Proxy members are Councillor Sessions and Councillor Harris. Thank you, Your Worship.
Thank you. May I have a move and a seconder, please? Moved by Councillor Sakula, seconded by Councillor Davis. Voting is now open. Please use the buttons on your microphone screen. Carried unanimously. We move to 13.1, request for leave of absence. Are there any requests for leave of absence? CEO, none. Notice of motion, there were none. Matters which the meeting may be closed, there are none. Closure. There being no further business to conduct, I thank all those in attendance and close the meeting at 9:43 p.m. A reminder that all elected members to please return all confidential documents to the box in the foyer of the elected members' entrance here at the Civic Centre. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.